Hello guys, welcome to Coding Essentials. In the previous video, we talked about what is a class, what is an object, and what is a method. In this video, we'll talk about inheritance in Python. So let's get started. Inheritance. It refers to defining a class with little or no modification to an existing class. The new class is called derived or child class, and the one from which it inherits is called the base or parent class. The syntax is class base class, then body of the base class, then comes class derived class, and inside parentheses we write the name of the base class, and then comes the body of derived class. So for example, class person, and we define the init function for person, okay, inside which there are two attributes, name and age, and after that comes the derived class which is student, and it is derived from base class person. So student parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis person, then inside that we define an init function. So we add an attribute known as roll number inside student. So it will automatically inherit the init function from person. So we need to write person.init, and which will include self, name and age. But it won't include the roll number because it is an extra attribute. So we need to declare it like self.roll number equal roll number after the declaration of inherited init function. So let me show you in the shell. Okay, class person, then comes define init self, name and age, then comes self.name equals name, then comes self.age equals age, and exit. Then comes student person, define init, then self comma name comma age comma roll number, then person dot init self name age, and then comes self dot roll number equals roll number, and exit. Now if we just declare an object of student class, then it will able to call the init function from the person class. For example, s1 equals student, and there comes name, age and roll number. So mark 19 and 1616 is the roll number. Enter. So if we write now s1 dot name, then it will give us the name. If we write s1 dot age, then it will print 19, and s1 dot roll number, it will print 1616. Okay, so this was a simple example of simple inheritance. Moving on to method overriding. So notice that in the previous example, init function or method was defined in both derived and base class. In such a case, the derived class init function gets preferred over the base class. Therefore, we had a new attribute known as roll number while defining an object inside the student class. Generally, when overriding a base method, we tend to extend the definition rather than simply replace it. Yes, we extended it by name, age and roll number. We gave an extra attribute roll number, and we did not replace each and everything. The same is being done by calling the method in base class from one in derived class, calling person.init from init in student. So we called the init function from the person, and after that we declared the extra attributes. So this is known as method overriding. Okay, so remember this. Moving on to super, it is a better choice. A better option would be to use the inbuilt function super. So instead of writing person.init, we will write super.init, then name comma age. It is equivalent to that, but we also no need to write the self. And super built-in function is more preferred in the coders. So for example, class student person, then here we'll write super dot init and then name comma age. So we don't need to write the name of the base class, else we'll write the super method and it will automatically take the init function from it. Okay, this was about super. Moving on to multiple inheritance. In multiple inheritance, the features of all the base classes are inherited into the derived class. The syntax of for multiple inheritance is similar to single inheritance. So in the photo, as you can see, there are two bases and one derived class. So the derived class will get all the features from base 1 and base 2 and extra features that you derived inside that derived class. So the syntax is class base 1, then class base 2, then class multi-derived base 1 comma base 2. So if there are n base classes, then you should write base 1 comma base 2 till base n separated by a comma. So we'll see an example over it. So here's an example of calculation, like class calc1, we define sum where self comma a comma b and returns a plus b. Then inside calc2 we define multiplication, and in derived class we define division. So after we declare an object inside the derived class, it can call all the three functions from calc1, calc2 and itself. Okay, let me show you inside the shell. Class calc1 define sum self comma a comma b, return a plus b, plus calc2 define, what was it, divide, yeah, no, it was multiply self a comma b, return a star b. Then in class derived we'll write calc1 comma calc2, then define div self comma a comma b and return a by b. We'll make an object of class derived Okay, so we'll call d dot sum of 3 comma 4. Yes, it's 7. Yes, we can call the method inside calc1 using an object that is declared inside the derived class. So we'll call now multiply 3 comma 4. Yes, we can also call multiply, and we'll call divide 3 by 4. Yes, this is known as multiple inheritance, and now we are moving on to multi-level inheritance. We can also inherit from a derived class. This is called multi-level inheritance. It can be of any depth in Python. In multi-level inheritance, features of the base class and the derived class are inherited into the new derived class. So as you see inside the photo, the first base class, then comes the second the first derived class. So the first derived class would have all the features of base and also its features, and the second derived class will have features of base, then derived one, and itself. So this is known as multi-level inheritance. So the syntax is class base, then class derived one, inside which we'll write the base class, base name, and then comes class derived 2, inside which we'll write derived 1. So we'll write the name of the derived 1 class. So derived 2 is the grandchild of base. Okay, let's see an example. Class animal, inside which we define speak method which prints animal speaking. The child class dog inherits the base class animal. So dog will inherit animal and we'll define bark inside it. So dog barking. Then comes the dog child class which will inherit dog. So dog child inherits dog. Define eat and self. So eat will print eating bread. Then comes, okay, so that's it. So there are three levels, and if we define an object of dog child, then it will be able to call all the functions from the grandparent and parent. Okay, so let me show you in the shell. Class animal, define speak self, then print speaking, then comes class dog which will inherit animal, define bark self, print barking, then comes dog child, or we can say puppy, which will inherit dog, then define eat self, print eating. Then we will make an object. So p1 is equal to, from the class puppy, and we will call all the functions from grandparent, parent, and itself. So there is a list of function in the screen. If you wait for some time, then it will give such a list inside shell. So first comes speak from grandparent, speaking, p1 dot, then comes bark from parent, yes it is barking, and p1 dot eat from itself, yes it is eating. So as you can see, this is known as multi-level inheritance, and the not the child, the grandchild can call the grandparent and parent functions and itself also. So this is known as multi-level inheritance. So these were all types of inheritance in Python. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Please like, share and subscribe my channel.